everyone. Welcome to the KBB From the Tap podcast. I'm Executive Editor Chelsea Butler. This week, I am talking to designer Christopher Grubb of Beverly Hills-based Arch-Interiors Design Group about all things luxury design.
Be sure to subscribe to KBB's YouTube channel and click the like button on our videos. You can also subscribe to KBB's From the Tap podcast on such apps as Apple, Spotify, Pandora, and Google Podcasts, and please feel free to leave a review.
Welcome, Christopher, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Chelsea. Always a pleasure to get to see you and join you, even if it's virtual.
Absolutely. And just wanted to note that he has been a valued member of our editorial advisory board for several years, and he's definitely no stranger to affluent projects. So we've definitely covered some of his material in our magazine over the years. So without further ado, I'll get started. So I know it's different for everyone, but maybe just talk to me about what you feel like today's definition of luxury might be.
So today's definition of luxury to me is really about what does the person love. I look back at time when materials, Vegas to me started it. There was the stone and natural stone and stained wood and special things that people didn't have in their house. So part of it is they wanted to take that experience home too. So that's a luxury of remembering your vacation. And right now, the presence, it's not about price. People, I have some projects, and thank you for the introduction. I have a kitchen that was almost 7 figures. But it's not about price. The luxury for that was their involvement. It was all hand done. And for me, luxury is currently lighting and layering and storage needs and really detailing it. Like I say to my clients, we're creating a custom suit for you. And so no matter the budget, you're able to create something that's got their budget in mind. And I definitely like having what you love to see in the space and makes you happy when you walk in every day. So to me, that's where luxury's gotten to. Especially how far materials have advanced to emulate something that may be too expensive in a budget, but it still looks great and it gives them the look they wanted.
So yeah, we've talked about this a number of times before. I feel like it kind of, the definition or, however people see it is different for each client. It's constantly evolving. Obviously through the pandemic, it definitely changed to, the spa bathrooms and like you said, customization and all that kind of stuff. But do you feel like luxury is becoming more mainstream with clients and projects and things like that, like more achievable?
Yeah, it's not just aspirational anymore. It's definitely more achievable. But sometimes luxury, it's the experience. It's really how you experience it. For me, luxury is going out of town and the water pressure in a shower. It's not California green. That's a luxury. And so a lot of it is just experiential, customizable, as we talked about. But yeah, it's definitely become more mainstream in that the expectation and how do you deliver that and what they're exposed to and what we bring to them, they haven't seen before, that steps it up. And once we hear the experience they want to have, we're able to kind of step it up and introduce things they hadn't seen that excite them.
Yeah, so I know that's got to be part of it. My next question, also customer service, how you operate with your clients and things like that. So how would you say that your design firm lives up to its reputation as a luxury brand?
Well, you nailed it, customer service. In this day and age of voicemail and waiting to talk to somebody, I come from a retail background. I come from my grandfather was a contractor. And my grandmother had a store over 100 years. And I watched my grandfather take scotch to his clients at Christmas and how we waited on customers and the approach. My office, you send an email, there's within 24 hours to the client just to tell them you don't have an answer. That's customer service. That's a luxury that puts their mind at ease. We're hourly. They want their mind put at ease. We have a system, believe it or not, that somebody sends an email, one of the designers, if we don't have an answer, they go to my email and respond all, hey, Chelsea, did you answer on this? There's an answer. People don't want to see my name in an email. It's just, they don't want to see my name. It's about getting answers. It's about the customer service on that. That's the luxury. That's luxury. There's American Express. They pick up the phone, you know, you can hit zero, that type of thing. Then there's people that have just failed. I won't talk about people I used to see as definitely very luxury, and now they're not.
So as a designer, what are the questions that you ask your clients to ensure that you meet their needs for their luxury projects? Assuming all of your projects are most likely, you know, having some luxury elements in them.
Yeah, I would say one thing I still do old school is I have couples pick pictures of things they like. If Pinterest, still old school, will drop off magazines, and they have to do it separately, because that way I can extrapolate what's similar. Right there is a luxury. They both see themselves in the project. And I think the questions really go down to one of the major questions we ask to: what do you hate about your kitchen right now? What do you hate about your bathroom right now? What do you wish you had? And then we're able to, during that, talk about slide out drawers, power inside of the back of the drawers, all the things we're doing, strip lights and toe kicks, everything we're starting to bring to it to see their reaction to it. If they're on a tighter budget, I don't bring up as many things. So the questions that's one of the main questions that's always been successful is tell us what you hate. Because the luxury is going to be, we fixed it. Where they, you know, it goes back to the custom suit. The luxury is, wow, you fixed it. I also love to do little details like the niche size, it's just for them, or an edge detail on the counter, it's just for them. And so to a material we haven't used in a certain way, it's just for them. And so that right there, you feel special. This is a customization and attention to detail that I think too is a luxury. That's why we have this career. I wish I could cookie cutter everything. I'd probably make more money, but you know, it's the torture of being a designer, the beauty of being a designer.
So just because you alluded to like asking what they hate, do you have an example of something that they've hated about their kitchen or bathroom?
Okay, kitchen. I had a client pull out a potato smasher and said, this needs to fit in every drawer you do in my kitchen. Also the sliding, like a thin shelf for lids didn't work. They never wanted it again. Bathrooms overdone with the sound system, the TV in the shower. They were like, we don't want it this complicated again. And a lot of it's mostly storage. If somebody they don't realize that their 30-inch high vanity can be 36. People adjust, you know, they'll adjust to what they have, but the little things like that, that's the biggest one. Or we'll just have, it's just really bad tile, or, you know, it's just dated. But it's little things like that. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah. So I've heard before that, you know, in order to actually be able to gain luxury clients, you have to have the experience with them. So it feels like kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Like, how do you get the experience if that's who you want to market to, if you don't get the chance to actually do that? So how did you get to that place, and how do you market your services to cater to a high net worth client?
Well, I get asked that question a lot. And I think part of it, how did I get it? I mean, I'm lucky I live where I live.
Right.
And I think when you start out, if somebody, it could even be a manager at an executive studio in LA, but somebody that has a job that works with affluent people and they're your client, if you do a tremendous job. We had somebody at MCA Universal, we're on our 5th project from them. And their first project was not a lot. It was a condo with some details, but they were very impressed. And to be referred, I mean, I'm blessed that 85-90% of our work is referrals, you know, word of mouth. That was a long time coming. So you have to look for the opportunities. And I've talked to designers asking that question. And some things too are do renderings of what you can do that's luxury. Call it a rendering, call it inspiration, but go ahead and put that into your repertoire of what you would like to do, what you see as luxury to get the hook. And it's also to reach out to, which I did a lot of, like when I went into luxury dental, I reached out to suppliers of the medical equipment and the supplies and everything, and gauged it that way. But contractors, architects in your area, see who they are, call, make an introduction. Do not say, hey, do you have a project? I'm an admirer of your work. I've just always been a fan. This is a da-da-da-da-da. I'm an interior designer local too. I feel like our design, there's a meld there that we could really complement your architecture. Could we have lunch? I'd love to talk more. Do not say, do you have a project? So at lunch, bring it up, always compliment them, let them talk about themselves, and then bring up, is there an opportunity to work together? So sometimes it may start out very small, that they test you, but that's another way that I lucked out, really just those little steps that way, and watching for, if I was working with a contractor on a project, the high-end architect, trying to meet them and build a relationship with them. So that's a hint of like, show what you'd like to be doing that's luxury. Why not? If I had to do it again, I definitely would. We had color renderings on our website when we started of projects that we had pitched. Show what you'd like to do so that somebody that's looking at it can see like, oh, wow, they do our level of work or where we want to be. Or even if it's still aspirational, you can still bring that to them.
All right, I want to pivot into wellness, which is another big trend or movement, in our industry these days. So how can you talk a little bit about how luxury expands into wellness? And if so, what are some luxury wellness elements that can be considered for kitchens and baths?
Well, I'll start with bathroom. Oh, it's kitchen too. One thing right now, it's the lighting. We really are toe kicks and crowns and layering of lighting. You and control the lighting with your dimmers. Don't let the lighting control you, and really the sconces and lip mirrors and function, that's wellness, that you're not struggling to do it. Even now I'm loving in niches doing little pin spots to light up the niche. It's another layer of lighting, or trims around the top in a shower. I just love, here's these layers, and it makes the design, it just accentuates and brings a whole new level to the design. I think companies like MTI, you can customize a bathtub where the jets are exactly where you'd like them. So I've had clients with like a lower back issue, and we do a lot of custom furniture. We'll take them, they keep putting batting till it gets to the size they want. That's an incredible opportunity to really, what is the focus you need to do? And they're so passionate about doing that. It's interesting. I've seen copper in interiors hinting. I always use the word hinting. And, I have a new line, California Faucets. There's a collection, Doheny, and we have a contrasting band. I want to do copper on a black because the material has a wellness quality. And I see it hinting. Don't know if it's going to kick in, but it's a beautiful accent. And just cleanability, that things are easy to clean, low maintenance that way, as much sunlight as you can get. And then like we did a project that the inside part was big enough, they had couples massages that would come in. And so the space, the sound we put into it, there was a water wall that it was chiseled stone that water came over it and trickled. And it was we did a bamboo forest on one side.
Wow.
And so here's a hint of nature. Especially, we're lucky we can do very big windows, but we also do switch glass. So when the gardener's there, you go opaque and you still get the view. I make a joke that after the neighbors see me naked 3 times, they're done. They're like, oh, they're there, done. So, and so those are some of the things that come into play with it. Just the use of water, how it's changed. I think that it's coming up with interesting ways to accommodate, because we're in California. Our California green is very limiting what we get to do now. The days are gone of body jets and, allegedly some people leave the plumbing in the wall and after inspection rip it open to get what they want, allegedly. But the days of that being a standard are, no more for us. So I think natural materials too. Most of our projects are natural stone. It's a hint of nature. I've never had any client complain about using natural stone. And I think in the kitchen, I'm really, I don't know why I'm into contrasting uppers and lowers right now. I'm just like, okay, I'm into that. And I think we're doing a lot more wood tones. And I feel like we're in a time of the economy, there's questioning. I'm seeing more neutrals come in, which is usually a sign of reassurance. It's not strong, bold colors we're coming into. And so nature is part of what's satisfying that. Some white, not as much, but the white we're doing right now up in Santa Barbara is chiseled. The cabinetry's got a chisel to it, so it gives it a texture, doesn't feel so white. So that's some of, that's some of what we're doing for wellness. But I love the lighting factor. People don't think about it.
I was going to say, I mean, how is the average person going to know what a difference it can make, different types of lighting and stuff? And I know there can be, I'm going to throw my ex-boyfriend under the bus. But
I will.
Living in his house, literally, we didn't have lights on ever. Just I would come in and just let's turn some lights on. And I think one of the main reasons he didn't use the lighting in his home was until he got some cans and some improved sources and things like that. They were ugly. They were not functional. It's a light in a fan or something, and just, yeah, I always had to have so much more, but I think it's fascinating to hear that, that might not be something a client thinks about. And if you don't know about it yourself, how are you ever going to design a lighting plan for them? I think that's one of the things that is so important. I know that they have lighting specialists that you can work with and things like that, but I think that's a great add-on to a designer service, is to actually really know how to, excel at a lighting plan for clients. I think it's a win-win all over.
And Ellie, I mean, the thing that drives me crazy is I went in a restaurant and one of the lamps was a different Kelvin. I just kept staring at it. How can they not see it doesn't match? How?
Right.
How can they not see? But I think, right? You know what I mean?
Somebody else has to tell them. Yeah, I was like, what is happening here? Yeah.
Right. Or my sister had that makeup mirror lights. I'm like, oh my God, she has frosting and she has clear, and but she doesn't know until you show somebody. I mean, it's kind of like an app. You load an app and you're like, oh, it does that. And it's like, oh, it does this much more. And I really think it's shows people watch and paying attention to it. Because the great thing, it's not that expensive. LED strips and everything has come down so much. So it is not an expensive detail. A rope light in a toe kick or a cantilevered vanity. Toe kick in the kitchen, it's a night light. Goes back to, aging in place. We think on wellness. I don't tell my clients they're getting older, but zero threshold, towel bars that are really grab bars. We're really thinking about that. So it's as simple as a night light for a, and we put them on motion sensors too. So then that way, coming in, you're not looking for a switch. It just comes on at night, and you do not have 600 watts of light, boom, in your face.
So you mentioned that every once in a while you do get a client that doesn't have, the giant budget. You talked about the one client who had, everything. What are your tips for adding some luxury elements to a kitchen or bath on a smaller budget?
Well, I think organization, it took a while for the Americans to catch up with Europeans. I mean, Europeans had everything designed right down to a toothpick storage area. And that right there, it goes back to the lighting. They don't know what they don't know. And so that is one thing so simple of just organization and the attention to that. I think we really try to do a special material, and it could be an inset, something that's a money shot that is really unique. Mosaic in an area rug in the floor. Because, and then people though, what bothers me is people oh, can we get something cheaper than what you picked out? And it's okay, well, you're going to save $240. And are you going to walk in every day and say, why didn't I?
Right.
That's the biggest thing to avoid, because you've destroyed all of the luxury. So I think when we see inspiration pictures, if they like wood, they want porcelain, we'll do a porcelain, the natural stone look in porcelains. Usually that's for guest bathrooms. for us. We're natural stone pretty much in everything else, but the product that's available, and there's little things like you can go to a stone yard and they may have remnants to put a stone counter on it that they just want to get it out of the stone yard. And so there's little hints like that of tricks you can do to really bring a luxury product in. But I'm really big on finding a material that's super special and showing them it's not that much more money. I want that wow. I have a thing you can't say I like it, you have to say I love it. And so that's part of what we do to bring in luxury. Yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. That's what's come to mind so far.
Well, that's kind of what we were talking about earlier, you know, kind of no matter what your budget, within reason, luxury has become mainstream enough that you can add elements within, you know, budgets that are considered luxury that don't have to be necessarily high priced. It's more, you know, what you've been saying, like some personalization, you know, just adding different sources of lighting to make the space prettier and easier to use and things like that. So again, just talking about how luxury just kind of evolved, the idea of it has evolved over the years.
Well, and size is another, you know, spaciousness. So there's little things like doing a cantilevered vanity in a bathroom. Now it seems bigger because there's more floor material. And it's little things like that to me that you're stuck with a smaller footprint. You know, it's just little things like that then they're like, wow, it does feel bigger. You tell them it feels bigger, right? And so they know it feels bigger. So it's all those little hints that designers need to keep in their back pocket.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about luxury elements in like the sister spaces, like the workout rooms, offices, laundry spaces, mud rooms, pantries, that kind of thing. What are some examples of luxury that you can kind of infuse into those spaces?
We just did a project out in the desert with this very cool wallpaper in the laundry room that spilled out into another room. And why not? I mean, why not have fun with something like that? We're doing a workout room. There's a product called Lumicore that makes waves, and we're going to suspend it from the ceiling.
Oh,
and
wow.
So it's color and it's got light behind it. Definitely refrigerators and closets are becoming like a mainstream. So it's touches like that, you know, people think it's so utilitarian, but you know, we did a laundry room that you hang damp clothes, but the back wall was a mosaic to protect the wall. This really cool pattern. So instead of just a basic tile, you pay a little bit more for material and you get this wow factor. And so I'm really into like bringing those pieces or found objects that we can hang up and things that are just unexpected that, why not? You know, it's design and look at commercial product too. That's where the Lumicore came from. A lot of people stay in their lane, and if you really should look at commercial product as well and bring that over, because there's great inexpensive paper that's dimensional and you can paint it and it's got a graphic, and so things like that you could bring. I think a surprise is luxury. Again, it goes back to feeling like it's one of a kind for you.
And I feel like you used a commercial product in that bathroom we featured. We did the kitchen and bathroom. Wasn't it a privacy glass or a shower glass or something like that?
A smart glass. It's called smart glass. This is where I like smart technology. I'm like, it's switch glass. They're like, no, it's smart glass. So that project, what's interesting was they've been a long-term client. And I did his office and the conference room, this gorgeous view over Beverly Hills towards the Pacific, but the office wasn't big. And so we did a switch glass to go opaque. So when I interviewed with them, and this is a bathroom that was almost $500,000. When I interviewed, the wife said to me, she goes, you know, I'm going to need frosted film because my little kids still run in and I'm in the shower. And of course, I'm like, we're not doing frosted film. And fortunately, the material was waterproof. And the owner already knew about it and loved the idea. So that's something that was a commercial product, and we're using that in a residence in a big window looking out over a view out in the desert. Same thing. It's a big picture window. And so that is a commercial product. We use a lot of vinyl wall covering that are commercial grade, Windex and white. And if you have an earthquake and the drywall cracks, you're not going to see it. But I think luxury too. I mean, part of my collaborations I'm doing is what are pieces you can bring in that are unique. I have style drains with California faucets, and it's kind of like it's been neglected for so long. You end up with all of these gorgeous fixtures and some like round aluminum drain cover. And I love that you can, it's kind of like, why not? It's like a finishing touch. So that to me is a luxury of just those little pieces that flow together, if you will. And they could be commercial too. So it becomes a vice versa of certain product that's residential. I'm doing faucets out in an outdoor kitchen and they're residential, consider residential.
All right. So talking about brands, my last question for you is, do you feel good about brands today and their offering for the luxury market? Are they up to par?
I think so. I mean, there's product. We're doing a house in one of the Keys in Florida, and Monogram has the microwave, speed oven. I mean, I think getting components like that, simplifying is very smart. They're thinking a lot about water and storage and items like that. I think manufacturers could be looking a little bit more towards luxury in smaller spaces. My house is a small Spanish bungalow, and I needed to replace the washer and dryer. And I don't have 6 kids, and it was hard to find something not under counter. So I think attention to those pieces, especially if the the children have left and you're redoing the kitchen and you don't need all of what you've got, and being smarter that way. But I think overall, I get asked too a lot about technology, and there's been a lot of attention paid to it in our industry. And it's a tough one for me. What's shocking, people are like, really? My older clients had some system and they don't want it anymore. Or the young ones think it's going to be like one of these and like, well, in 2 years, 3 years, I'm going to have to replace it. So I think education on technology would be helpful for the consumer and the designer to know, like I've learned, no, we can go in, we can log in and program and change the programming. I mean, it's great to preheat the oven, but I usually can turn the washing machine on before I leave. But there's certain tools of it are brilliant to simplify your life, or you've forgotten, or you just want to double check. So I think manufacturers are doing great with that. I think there's just more education. But I also think the consciousness of, all the toilets, the bidets, those pieces that are a luxury piece as well. So overall, yeah, I feel good about what, where things are and what's going on. And yeah, but it's the smaller pieces or combined pieces. Like I'd love a steam oven that's a microwave and a speed oven and a toaster oven all in one. We'll develop that. Somebody out there, let me know. Let's put it together.
I'm sure they're doing it as we speak. But as soon as they hear this, they're going to jump on it.
Put a SKU so we know it's ours.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me about all this good stuff with luxury design. I'm sure everybody out there is going to take your ideas and run with them. But, always great to talk to you, and can't wait to see you again.
Can't wait to see you either. And I hope they do in the pieces of the customer service. And we're making a suit for you. That's my good. All right, Chelsea. Well, thanks for having me. Good to see you. We'll see you at the next show.
Sounds good.
Okay.